Okay, so for this deep dive, we need to brace ourselves a little. The source text we're looking at today feels less like a document and more like a confrontation.
It's abrasive. It's loud.
It is. And let's be honest, if you just glance at the surface, it looks like a wall of profanity. I mean, I think the word pussy shows up, what, 8 times in the first few lines?
It definitely filters the audience immediately. But that shock value, the bitches, the thoughts, all of it, that's really the entry point here.
Right.
We're not just looking at vulgarity for its own sake. This is a fascinating case study in how a subculture uses language as both a shield and, well, a weapon.
So it's doing a lot more than just trying to offend.
So much more. It's tackling identity, survival, and then it makes this incredibly sharp pivot into political activism. It's
Well,
almost a bait and switch.
you come for the shock, but you stay for the manifesto. And it drops us right into a very specific setting from the get-go, the lesbian working hood.
And notice how that geography just dictates the vocabulary. It's not polished, it's the hood. When the speaker starts listing those definitions, pussy is a steak, pussy is a mood.
Pussy's a cunt.
Exactly. They are reclaiming those terms. It stops being about how someone else sexualizes them and becomes about how they define their own reality. It's a pure declaration of toughness. They even say, bitch, I'm fucking blunt.
To me, it reads as incredibly defensive. There's that specific image, hoods up, goods down. It sounds like they're physically getting ready for a fight.
That is the key takeaway. Language as armor. The imagery is all about being prepared, sleeves up, barely strangled.
It's an aggressive posture.
It is. The speaker calls herself dangerous and top shits. By doing that, they're basically saying, I'm the one you should be worried about. They're rejecting any external judgment by just becoming the threat themselves.
But then, right in the middle of all this bitch-like clit swagger, the text does something I did not expect. The format physically changes.
It shifts into all caps. It's a visual scream on the page. The text pivots from that sexual bravado to a worldwide scream for agency. That line, let us make our choices, it changes the entire scope.
We stop hearing about one person's toughness.
And we start hearing about a collective struggle. It gets specifically political. Suddenly there's this antagonist, a man described as so evil who's taking our time and our lives.
That's a huge leap.
It's a critique of systemic problems, but it's woven directly into that street vernacular. And the reality it describes gets much darker here. We're not just talking about social posturing anymore.
No, we're talking about shaking with no place to hide.
And the speaker even mentions the alternative to peace, explicitly naming a knife for an AR-15.
It escalated so quickly, it suggests that if their voices aren't heard, violence is what's left on the table.
Right. The text basically says that when you back people into a corner where they feel there's no room for living, that's a volatile mix.
So if we strip away the aggression, what's the actual mission statement? Because buried under all the thoughts and threats, there's a plea for something surprisingly fundamental.
It's right there in the middle of it all. Try to respect all your women's right. The text actually calls this vibrant protesting.
It's interesting because for all the talk of being dangerous, the ultimate goal seems to be unity. It warns, don't lose point and destroy and divide.
They position their group as people who can't be tear and upride.
Right.
It's a call for solidarity against that evil force. But here's what I think is the most critical part.
Okay.
Look at how it ends. After this heavy universal political statement about rights, the text dives right back into that gutter slang.
It goes back to thought, bitch, real pussy G.
Exactly. Most people code switch when they want to be taken seriously in a political way, right? They clean up their language.
But the speaker refuses to.
Completely. They're suggesting the political message and the raw, explicit identity are inseparable. They are keeping it real while taking the fight. They demand rights while staying exactly who they are, real torpedoes and true girls.
It's a refusal to sanitize their own existence just to make the message more palatable for an outside audience.
And that forces you to take the whole package. You get the pussy as a song part right alongside the defense of human rights. It's not optional. You don't get the comfort of polite discourse here.
Which really brings us to the final question for you to think about. We often tune out messages that aren't delivered in, polished or acceptable language.
Right.
But does a demand for basic rights actually hit harder when it comes wrapped in dangerous, unfiltered language? Or do we just use the profanity as an excuse to ignore the plea itself? Something to consider. Thanks for diving in with us.